This is Sigma Universe. Sigma Male, Sigma World, Sigma Race. I really enjoy VAUSH. I really like watching his content. But what he's saying about AI art is simply not true. Like, he likes to talk about the differences between AI art and what he likes to call real art. And he thinks it means something, but it doesn't, right? Like, painting art and digital art are different, but that doesn't mean that digital art isn't real art, or that it isn't art, right? So it's not really a good argument. And he tries to construct definitions of art that exclude AI art, but he fails really badly. Like, he says that human creativity is required for something to be art, but many people consider natural phenomena to be art. Many cultures throughout history have considered natural phenomena to be art. In fact, many cultures throughout history have had different ideas of what art is and what they call art. They've had different definitions of art. Therefore, art is a social construct, and VAUSH cannot impose his objective definitions of art onto the rest of us. They're simply not true. And if you look at the science, now this is really interesting. If you look at the science, there was a study which got quite a lot of people, and it compared their reactions to three different things. Compared their reactions to things that weren't art, to AI art, and to other forms of art, right? And what the study actually found was that the psychological reaction to AI art was actually more similar to the psychological reaction to other forms of art than it was to things that weren't art. If you look at science, if you look at the scientific consensus, it points in one direction, and that direction is that AI art is art. It's real art. It's not below art. AI art is art. That is what the science says, right? And a lot of these people, like VAUSH, they try to come up with ways to identify what is AI art, right? Like they say, oh, look at the hands. You can tell from the hands. You can tell from the AI construction of hands that it's AI art, right? Well, most of the time when you give them a piece of art, they can't even tell it's AI art. It's just after you tell them that the picture is AI art, then they act like it was obvious. But before they didn't have a clue. They thought it was they thought it was real art. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just making stuff up. Because here's the problem with VAUSH and art, right? He has this intuitive bias against AI art. That's what it is. And he thinks this intuitive bias is intellectually valid. He thinks it's a good argument. It's not. This is appeal to intuition fallacy. And this is what has been refuted by the scientists. The science says that AI art is real art. Okay, and another thing is that they talk about artistry, right? They talk about how art, this gives an extremely unfair advantage to AI artists, right? Because AI artists, all they have to do is type something into the text. Well, all they have to do, right? It's actually more complicated than that. But okay, so all they have to do is type into the search box, the type box for the AI, and generate the picture, right? While the other artists, they have to actually draw the stuff, right? And they say that this is unfair. They say that AI art is an attack on artistry. Well, actually, artists have always had advantages over other artists. If you look at digital art tools, those make it easier. A lot of stuff have made it easier, have given other artists an unfair advantage over others. It doesn't mean that AI art is not real art, and it doesn't mean that AI art is some kind of threat to artistry. If there was unfairness to it, then how is more unfairness a bad thing, right? I don't get this. I don't get why people are so opposed to AI art. They can't accept new ideas when even the science says that AI art is art. I'm really disappointed in VAUSH and his takes on AI art. Another thing is photography. A lot of you ask and debate whether or not photography is real art. The answer is yes, photography is real art. In fact, whenever I have free time, instead of going to an art gallery, I prefer to browse r/trans to witness the beauty of the female gender expressed through photography. This has been Sigma Universe, Sigma Male, Sigma World, Sigma Race.